Hello everyone. The purpose of this presentation is to introduce the many new enhancements that have been added to ETABS version 18. So let's get started. Here's ETABS Ultimate version 18. And the first item I'd like to talk about are the new interactive database tables. These tables have been expanded to completely define the model and the results. So if I wanted to perhaps change these sections located here on the right-hand side of the screen, I could select them and go under Edit, Interactive Database, and it will pull up this menu. Here you can see you can change many different aspects or items in ETABS, including the load patterns, load cases, area assignments, design data information. Anything can be updated using the Interactive Database Editing tool. So what I'm going to do now is change the frame item assignments. I've clicked on selection only, so it's only going to bring in those beams that I'd selected here on the right-hand side of the screen. So if I click OK, here are the section properties that I wish to change. I could either change them in this menu or export them to Excel and make changes in Excel. So I'll click on, maybe change these to an 18 by 35. Do that to the rest of them. I'll save this. And then import them back into ETABS. So now you can see W18 by 35s have been updated. I'll need to apply them to the model. This just takes a second. Then I'll click Done, and if I zoom in here, you can see those sections have been changed from W18 by 40s to 18 by 35. Now, most model definition tables can be edited interactively. These tables can be exported in Excel, Access, or XML formats. And also these exported tables can be edited and re-imported to define a new model or add to an existing one, just as I showed you here. Okay, some updates have been made to our concrete frame design. So up under the design menu, I can click on Concrete Frame Design, View Revised Preferences. We've added the Australian code, AS 3600-2018. The Korean code, KBC 2016, now includes seismic design requirements. We've also included the Mexican building code. New Zealand code 3101-06 now incorporates torsion design of beams. And also the Russian code, SP 63.13330-2012 has been significantly expanded and enhanced, including the addition of crack width analysis for concrete beams. If I scroll down here, you can see that these items has now been included. The Turkish code TS 500-2000 has been included for seismic design requirements as well. So let's take a look at shear wall design. And again, the Australian code 3600-2018 has been added. Korean code KBC 2016 now includes seismic design requirements. Mexican code, Russian code have been added, including the Turkish code, which has seismic design requirements included now as well. Now, for the ultimate version of ETABS 18, Slab Design is included. If we take a look at the latest codes that have been added under the design, concrete slab design, we can take a look at the Russian code that has now been included as well. Under steel frame design, let's see, under View Revised Preferences, KBC 2016 has been included, as well as the Russian code for steel frame design as well. Now, Composite Beam has some new features included. So if we take a look at that, the AISC 36016 code has now been included to consider axial forces in composite beams. So you can see here under consider axial force, you have the option there. The code can now design castellated sections and cellular sections following the provisions of AISC Design Guide 31. So if I show you where those castellated beams can be defined, you can take a look at the section properties, frame sections, add a new property. And for the steel I-beams, you can see for the section shape, steel castellated and steel cellular are beams that are now can be designed here in ETABS. And lastly, for steel frame design, Eurocode 4/2004 has been expanded and enhanced as well. Okay, let's take a look at some analysis properties that have been updated. So for link property data, we can go under the Define menu, Section Properties, Link Support Properties. Enhanced control is now available for the stiffness and damping of nonlinear link objects, including this isolator, improving control of energy dissipation behavior. So for triple pendulum isolator, you can see the stiffness options are now included, as well as convergence behavior of the friction pendulum isolator is improved for the case with significant variation in axial force, including uplift. Another item in the analysis which has been included is event stepping and line search can now be combined for nonlinear static analysis. Let me show you where to find that. Under Define, Load Cases, if you select a nonlinear static load case type, under Nonlinear Parameters, you can see event-to-event stepping is included, as well as line search. Okay, for performance-based design, ETABS version 18 now includes line and equilateral strain gauges. This can be found underneath the Define menu. Strain gauge properties. You can use line gauges as well as quad gauges. Let's go ahead and define a couple quad gauge options here that can be used for not only shear, but for rotation as well. So gauge type can be selected either shear or rotation. Acceptance criteria can be defined for measuring deformation. And we'll leave all the default values here as well. So once it is defined, you can actually draw the strain gauge. I'll just rotate this around a little bit and zoom in. It can be drawn just like a shear wall. If I click on the Draw menu, Draw Quad Strain Gauge, I can click from point to point after I select the property here on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. Click from point to point, double-clicking on the last point to make sure the quad gauge has been drawn correctly. Now, if I run the analysis, let's take a look at the output tables to see what information is now included. Okay, under the display, show tables. For the output, you can see structure output, element output, strain gauge output is now included for shear and rotation. So if I select those items, click OK, and now we can take a look at information regarding the quad gauge. for not only rotation, but a shear as well. Some items for efficiency have been included and updated here in ETABS version 18. Faster frame and wall design for all design codes and materials when considering many load combinations that contain multi-step load cases such as time history. Reduced size of results stored for direct integration time history load cases, as well as faster recovery of analysis results for API programming interface. Speaking of API, that is the last item on the list here for new enhancements. Starting with ETABS version 18, the API will be compatible with future major versions of ETABS. And let me show you all the new features included in that. So I'm going to open up the help menu for the API. And you can see the new database tables can be accessed for display in multiple formats, behaving similarly to interactive editing of the database tables, similar to what I'd shown you in the beginning of the presentation. So these are the new items which are included for the API here in ETABS. Please check the website for a complete list of all the enhancements in ETABS version 18. Thank you very much.